Hello, group piano teachers. My name is Dorla Aparicio, and I like to come here every Wednesday and share with you an amazing group piano teacher. And in this case, used to be group piano teacher. And we're going to hear about all the amazing things that Kay has done. So, Kay, will you please introduce yourself? Welcome, and tell us where you are right now and what you're doing right now, and then we'll talk about a little bit of everything.
Thanks, Dorla. Thank you for having me. My name is Kay Lowry. I live in Stillwater, Oklahoma, with my special needs son and my husband. I moved here last May. I live 5 doors down from my grandkids. I love
Oh,
it. And I am teaching online mostly. When we moved here, I converted my in person group studio to an online studio, and that's what I'm doing. And my studio is full and I love it.
awesome. So I remember you shared on your, I think it was your Facebook page, your online setup, and I was like, these are the teachers that discourage me from teaching online, which I don't want to do anymore because I cannot, no, I can have a setup like yours. I know I can learn it, but I don't have the brain space for it right now. I just can't. So your setup is really gorgeous. And how does that work now that you're in your new house in Oklahoma? Did you build a room specifically for your online teaching?
We did. We wanted to downsize. So this is a 3 bedroom home. And one of the bedrooms, it's about, I would say, 11 feet by 12 feet, is
Mm.
my new studio. So when I decided to go online, I wanted to take the things I had learned from the pandemic. And I learned there are some things I really hated about online teaching, and I just set out to change those things so that I could be comfortable. And so that's what I did. In this room there is a baby grand piano which takes up most of the room. I cannot give that up. And then back here is a Roland. I don't know if you can see him, a Roland
Yeah,
digital back there. And
there you go.
then I have my desk and some materials, but it's kind of cozy in here. So that's what we did. We set up this room, and so far it's working great.
Awesome. So let's go back to 2019. And you said you were teaching in groups. Tell us a little bit about what you were doing then.
Well, I actually started in earnest in 2017 when
Mm.
I decided to convert my studio. I was living in another town and I wanted to do the 20-20-20 method.
Oh, okay.
So I started doing that in groups of 3 children, and I loved that. I did that from 2017 through 2022 last year.
Oh, okay.
And in some cases, I would get children because of the different levels, which I love that you talk about. Um, it was so much easier to schedule kids to
Yes.
be in those spots. And if they needed to trade spots, I would kind of leave some leeway to do that. So I did the rotating method, but I also liked to just do all of the kids together doing an ensemble, or in some cases, if they were more on the same level, doing the same material. So I just found that I wasn't stuck in one mode of doing group. I kind of branched out and did different things with it.
Awesome, awesome. So when 2020 came around and changed all of our teaching styles, did you continue with your 2020 online, or what did you do?
Very good question. Um, Initially, for the first month, I kind of panicked. I knew how to teach online, but I was thinking we're not going to be doing this very long. Huh.
Right.
Initially, I just sent out video lessons and it was asynchronous. And then we got on Zoom and I operated pretty much like you've described, Dorla. And if anyone listening to this doesn't know, I think you have a great YouTube video or more than one on how to teach on Zoom. So
Mm.
that's what we did for a while. We did different methodologies of playing together. And then as the pandemic went on, I was able to teach outside. And I was lived in a climate that was pretty mild. And I put one of my digital pianos outside and we just had a blast in my backyard. That was one of my favorite things.
I remember that.
Oh, it was great. But then after a while, we went back to in person. So that was kind of the progression of what happened to me in the past few years.
Okay. Okay. So I also remember that we did another Facebook Live a few years ago because you were doing a piano camp, musical STEM, and you did it
And
outside, right?
no, musical STEM I did completely online. I
Oh,
did have some in person um, other camps that I did outside that were marvelous. So
so
I
you
love
did.
doing outdoor camps.
Okay. So outdoor camps, we can all understand, but online camps. So how did you make that work?
I followed your plan,
Oh,
honestly. I have a lot of young students. For musical STEM, I made a packet for them and I delivered it to them because I was in the area. All of my students were in the town where I lived and they loved getting this packet.
yes.
And for each day, I believe I did 3 days, I had an envelope. So there were three envelopes in a bag, and the
Oh,
envelope said, "Do not open, do not, top secret." And so all of the things for their experiments were in there, plus
okay.
some things you would normally have around the house are involved in musical STEM. And so we got online for like an hour on Zoom in the morning and we talked about the concept, the science concept, and we did it. Or no, wait, we talked about it. We did the lesson as you have in your curriculum, pardon me. And then we had a piano piece. I chose Robotic Rise by Wendy Stevens that we all learned together. And then I said, okay, you're going to do your experiment and then we're going to get back on and report. And they made videos of their experiments. And so back in the afternoon, we got back on and kind of did a conclusion to the lesson. It worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Everyone loved it.
Yeah. Very, very well done, Kay. I love it. I love it. Um, so now you are in Oklahoma, no longer in Texas. Um, we miss you, even though you're probably the same distance from me than you were when you were in Katy. But you're teaching online now. You're just at full capacity?
Yes. And most of my students are from the town I just left. But I do have, so I have 35 students. No, actually, I have 37. Two of them are in Kazakhstan.
Ooh,
Two of them are in Bermuda. Three of them are in Colorado. One in Oklahoma, and the rest are either in Denton or in Katy, Texas. So they're really
wow.
spread all out, and
Yes,
it
they
gives me a
are.
lot of opportunity. I'm looking forward to doing one of your camps online this summer, the Flip the Lid camp. And
Yes.
actually, I asked my students to vote, and I was shocked that they were so interested in this Flip the Lid camp. So I said, we have to do it.
Oh
We're
my
going to do
goodness,
it
that is
online.
great. Now, you have also branched out besides your teaching. Um, I know, like, I think it was in 2020 that you created digital resources and you have them in and Leela's store, Leela Viz. But
Yeah.
now you've created, is it one or two piano camps also?
One piano camp so far.
Okay, okay.
And this was born, it's a fusion between art and music. And I had done this camp when I lived in Denton in person with
Okay.
preschoolers through elementary age kids. And so I just took this camp and packaged it and have it for sale on my website, which is pianomusicforkids.com. And the name of the camp is Young Picassos and Piano Players. And I'm super pumped about this camp because there's enough material for probably at least 4 days, maybe five if you stretched it. But there are three major artists that we are going to study each day, and each one has something to do with music. So,
Oh,
sort of in the same format, we will study the artist. We will actually do an art project related to that artist, and we will do some music as well. And the kids are super excited about it because I didn't realize, but a lot of them are very interested in visual arts.
oh, that is nice. So, I'm gonna have to look into this because music and art, I think, is such a perfect combination.
It really
Now,
is.
are you gonna do that in groups or privately when you do the camp?
We are going to do this in groups. So for my online studio, we'll do it on Zoom, pretty much the way you've laid out your online camps as well.
Okay.
I love that type of pattern and the way to look at it. But in addition, I'm going to record everything and package it for asynchronous lessons. So
Mm,
I have a lot of families that travel and I can't come to the camp because we'll be in another country or we'll be on vacation or whatever. And I use the app Practice Space. It's similar to Tanara, if your listeners know those two apps. And so it's really easy to link a YouTube video in there. And so if a child is, and by the way, if you're online and you are somewhere else you can pop on, you can participate. But if you
mm,
can't participate live, you can do it through the asynchronous version.
hmm. You know, Kay, I want to do something like that this summer where I give the parents options, to either do it. I mean, it would be great if everyone would say, yes, I'm going to be gone. Let's just do it when we have time. So we'll have to talk more about how you're going to do that because I really like that structure. And I think it's a mindset change that the parents need to have, at least the parents that I serve. They're like, no, 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 no. We want to be in person. We want to be in person. But then they don't come because they're doing all sorts of other things. So I don't get it.
Right. And do you ever feel like you're at the bottom of the food chain
Always.
sometimes?
Yes. So yeah, I want to think that over um before I offer anything for summer. So thanks for mentioning that. I like that idea a lot. So tell us a little bit more about the other resources that you have created. Because now, besides the digital things that you created now, wait, before we go into what you're doing now, the theory ones that you created that you have in Leela's store, I think are
Yes.
really good. I've told you for the last 3 years that I'm going to use them, and I have not used them. I just buy it, and it's just sitting there. But tell us about it.
Oh, well, in I had met Leela. She's such a dear friend and such an encourager. And I found out that she was doing her theory exams without a theory book. And I said, "What? Not a theory book?" And she does it, of course, through her off-bench activities. And then after students complete the off-bench activities, they do some practice exams and they do fine. So enter 2020 and I start pulling together a lot of the resources that I've used from Leela and other places, and I packaged them in Google Slides. I didn't know what Google Slides were. I'm afraid of PowerPoint and all that stuff, but it's really pretty easy. And so I found out how to do it. And if anyone is interested, I have some YouTube tutorials that will make it super easy. And you can use it during a lesson. You can send it home and have the students do it that way. But it's not as boring as a theory book.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make it fun for the students. And secretly, I was super tired of grading all those theory books. And when you are take students are taking pictures of it and then they text it to you and you have to mark it up, and oh my word.
It's a
So
lot
it's
of
really,
work.
more of a self-grading theory curriculum. The students
Mm,
do it and then they report back to you and they do some of their stuff, and it's all self-grading and it's just fun. So that's what we did. And I understand that not everybody's into Google Slides. So I would love to hear from teachers about what other format would be helpful, because I've taken some of the early theory stuff and I've made them into digital workbooks that are
mm.
for sale on my site that you can just print and you can do the same thing, and it's not a Google slide, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
Huh,
yeah.
interesting. Well, I just love the one that I purchased because it's a video that the students can watch, and it tells them it's a tutorial for the student, and it's nice and short to the point, so I don't have to do anything to it but send it. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So tell us about the resources that you're creating now, because just right now in 2023, you have produced quite a bit in your store.
Well, it's been an evolution, Dorla, and I'm learning, but I I realized after the pandemic that it was even more important for pianists to play together.
Mm,
We lost that ensemble opportunity. And so that just makes what you do so much more valuable now, because when you don't have it, you really miss it.
yeah, yeah.
So back to the camps that I have done and the different life experiences. I started out as a classroom teacher and I taught Kodai method and Orff method. And when
Mm,
I did camps and groups and I wanted my students to play together, I would arrange something, sometimes on the fly or just in my head. I had all these ideas about let's play a song, and I look at the piano as an Orff instrument. So if you don't mind, I'm going to switch to my piano and kind of show you what I mean here. Let's see if I can get
oh, we'd
this.
love that.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
the piano. Hold on. Maybe we won't do that because I moved my piano camera and it could take a while to get set up.
Oh,
Sorry
okay.
about that.
Okay.
Um, anyway, yeah, the piano is like a series of Orff instruments to me. So I can do this a little by standing up. One of the things I learned is that students who are young do better when they tap their lap for the beat versus clapping. So I
Yeah.
know you guys are probably all aware of that, but that vertical motion is easier for them. So
Mm,
with an Orff instrument, the easiest thing is to play open fifths as the beat. That's usually what the middle xylophone plays. Or you can play left, right. Or if you're fancy, you can cross over left, right, cross over, rest, left, right, cross over. Those are the three patterns that I use in my arrangements. I'm just giving my secret here. Just telling you in case you want to do your own. So I look at the piano as an Orff instrument. The melody goes on the top. The middle is usually that steady beat. or
Mhm.
the crossover pattern, and then the bottom is an open fifth. And when you put that together with kids, I like them to learn all three parts and be able to interchange and play that harmony and melody together. Or, and then you do have to experiment with where does it sound good on the piano, because
Okay.
sometimes you need to change octaves or whatever just to make it sound good. So I
So,
started doing that with the Christmas music, and it's just continued on.
sorry to interrupt. Are you doing this all three parts on one piano?
Yes.
Ah, very nice.
Of course, if you have more than one piano, have at it. But a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
teachers,
But there's so many teachers that want to start with group but are not sure how to do it with one piano. And this idea you have here is fabulous. So I hope you have music that you have arranged for them to use this way.
yes, I do. The one we have a lot of Christmas, but I'll be migrating all of that Christmas on, and I plan to do some Halloween and fall. Currently, the one that I have is called Yellow, and I composed that piece to go with my art and music camp. So you can use those in tandem. I composed it because I have a little bit of synesthesia, and the key of
Mhm.
D major is very yellow to me. However,
Really?
because there's not any, the piece is mostly open fifths, the kids don't have to deal with sharps or key signatures or any of that business. It's all just pretty much white keys. And so
Mhm.
yellow is available on my website for beginners. You can even, what I love about it is you can even teach people who are zero. They don't know anything about the piano. You can say, play this key and this key, and you can teach them by rote. And
Okay.
so I think that's really valuable.
Yes, it is. Well, um, you need to write more color songs, so that we can use them this summer. We're always looking for short, easy pieces to do in the summer that the kids don't have to practice, but that we can just get together and make music. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna be happy to see yellow.
yellow. I do have I need to work on. I have something in mind for red, but I haven't written it yet. And then I have a piece called green. It's not an ensemble, but it is about how we wear green on St. Patrick's Day. And then another piece that will be coming soon is called Spring Fever.
Mm,
And I used that with my groups last year. And if you don't know, spring fever means that you're just itching to get outside as a kid and you don't want to be in school and who cares
mhm.
about homework. And so spring fever is a lot of fun. And I did it with a backing track. So
Oh,
we played it, different levels of kids would play it with, with the backing track. And so it's not the same type of ensemble, but it can be an ensemble.
beautiful. Well, Kay, I know that you have a heart for beginning teachers. You have a whole video series, don't you, for teachers who are just getting started. So before we say goodbye, do you have anything special to say to those teachers who are just starting out?
Oh, my heart is with you. I think, as Dr. Suzuki says, the best teachers should be teaching the youngest and most beginning kids. So I want to
Mm,
say to you, you have the most important job. You can make it or break it for these kids. And thank you, beginning teachers, for being willing to take a kid from zero, no matter what their age, and introduce them to music. It's such a privilege, isn't it?
yes, it
So,
is.
yeah, I just want to encourage people. It is probably, if I were to be honest, there's sometimes I just want to hear some more advanced music in my day, But then I remembered that this is probably the hardest part of my
Yeah,
job is beginners.
it
So
is.
don't give
It is. I feel the same way when I hear um, an orchestra play or a band or any professional performance. I'm like, I don't hear that every day. I don't get to do that. But then I think, but the reason they are able to do that is because of the job we do with beginning students.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I love how you have a plan to incorporate those beginning kids in with older kids. And that's one thing I loved about my group lessons in person is that I would say to a kid, you explain this to Johnny, or you explain this to Romulo because he doesn't get it. And then I would sit back and watch them teach.
Yeah.
So your pattern is just golden for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kay. Thank you also for your time and sharing your expertise and knowledge with all of the teachers in the group. And this will also be on YouTube in a few weeks. So, you know, it's just a blessing to have you in our group. We will put the information for your to purchase your resources and whatever else that you have. We will add that to the comments here on Facebook and on YouTube so that whenever teachers are ready to get in contact with you, they can. So
Yes,
thank you, Kay.
thank you, Dorla.
All righty. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.